Buy a nice little adorable pickup truck that gets great gas mileage and is reliable, and you could fix it for cheap. Now look what's happening right now. This is my 1980-something Volkswagen Rabbit pickup truck, also known as the VW Caddy, and I bought it to have something as a temporary parts hauler while my Rivian was getting fixed after the accident, when I let someone use it who then subsequently caused $25,000 in damage. Now, her gender isn't important, but I really like this little turd. I mean, look at it. It's adorable. It's everything the Rivian isn't. It weighs 1,700 pounds, while the Rivian weighs over 7,000 pounds. That's right. 4 of these little trucks is one Rivian, and it's easy and cheap to fix it. You can get all the parts to fix this Caddy at Whole Foods. The Rivian, not so much, but one thing about the Caddy is that it's slow as hell, like dangerously slow, like 20 seconds 0 to 60 slow. To put things in perspective, the slowest car they make today, I believe, is a Mitsubishi Mirage, which does 0 to 60 in 12 seconds, which is really slow. So imagine something that rolls into 68 seconds slower than that. I wanted to change that up. Now, I could have TDI swapped it to get all the VW nerds all hot and bothered, and TDI nerds love rolling coal. But the main issue with the Caddy is that it's wrong-wheel drive, meaning the front wheels drive, so it's not as fun. The front wheels have to steer and propel the vehicle, which is a recipe for disaster. Ask me how I know. I had a 450 horsepower SRT4 front-wheel drive torque steer isn't as fun as you think, so I wanted to try something a little bit different. What engine is compact, lightweight, and makes a ton of power and is easy to find parts for? For the first time in forever, the answer is not LS. Even the mighty LS weighs too much for this. Enter the Hayabusa. It's the most world-renowned motorcycle. Yeah, I said it. If you're a motorcycle rider, you've uttered the words Hayabusa out of your mouth at one point in time. Every motorcycle rider knows someone with a Hayabusa. I mean, even my brother has a Hayabusa. The engine's powerful, compact, and just by adding a turbo, you can do things like this. The power to rate ratio is insane. You could have something that revs to 10,000 RPM plus and makes between 300 to 500 plus horsepower, and you can put it in your carry-on luggage on a plane. Where am I going to find something like a Hayabusa engine? Do I have to buy a Hayabusa just to take it apart? No. Enter Mike and Megan. They were the stars of the Ice-T video where Mike made his own car in his garage, powered by a Turbo Hayabusa engine. They're great friends of mine. Mike and I have a lot in common. He builds cars in his garage, so do I. We both like engineering projects, and we both like many of the same other things. So when I told him about this project, he actually took the engine out of his motorcycle-powered car and sent it to me. His baby, his pride and joy. He removed it, checked it over, and made all the necessary adjustments, tested it on their bench, packaged it, and sent it over to me. They are amazing people. So if you want to see more details on the engine build and other cool stuff that they do, check out their YouTube channel in the link in the description box below. Now, before we go any further, I just want to say that I know there are purists out there that are mad as hell right now, and they're mad because their beloved Volkswagen Caddy is going to get cut up and they don't make them anymore. Volkswagen people are a different breed, but I'm going to say something that's very controversial here. The Volkswagen Caddy is a pile. It just is. I get it. It's quirky, it's funky, and it's weird, but there's a reason why you can literally buy them for $2,500 on Facebook Marketplace. They're front-wheel drive rust buckets, and when you buy one, just save some extra money to replace the floor pans. I'm sure they have to all be replaced at this point. So you know where this is going. We're going to put a Hayabusa engine in a Volkswagen Caddy pickup truck, which won't be easy. But you know it is easy. Making a website with Squarespace. It's easy to claim a domain or URL like www.thevolkswagencaddyisactuallynothatgreat.com or www.ireallydon'twannaworkontheM5.com. And then when you can create a custom site that matches your style and enthusiasm, check out these page templates because they'll make your web page look better than the looks people give you when you tell them a Caddy from the 1980s is better than a modern electric truck. Head to www.squarespace.com/rebuilds to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using the code in the description box below. below. Shout out to Squarespace for making platforms for people's passions, no matter what crazy idea they have in mind. So, the Volkswagen Caddy is a front-wheel drive vehicle. In order to put the motorcycle engine in the rear, we need to convert the truck to rear-wheel drive, because right now there's just the equivalent of a big steel bar with 2 brake drums on either side. So we need to get a rear axle out of a rear-wheel drive pickup truck. Doing simple measurements, the rear of that axle is about 58.5 inches, so we need a rear that is also 58.5, or at least close. You know what? After doing some research, you know what rear end I found would fit? The rear end out of a freaking Ford Ranger. I found one on Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to hop in my Honda Odyssey, which I think is a far better pickup truck than the Volkswagen Caddy, but it has no air conditioning, so I have to drive it with no pants on. Enjoy the view. Oh, genius. Is that a homemade go-kart over there?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
Of course we will. That's how any good project is. I'm enjoying watching Rich do like stretch pull things down here. You know?
So, we're doing this. Oh yeah, much better. Where does the fuel tank stop? We could see it through here.
Actually, the fuel
cell's still
tank-
right here.
The fuel cell ends about right here. How
So,
about that part of the rest line?
oh, this is a good marker. Well, this sprocket. Oh. I almost want to put something in here so we know where it's going to be. Maybe we could punch a hole right here.
Yeah, let's push the motor as far forward as we can. Can these? Oh, no.
Okay, so this is the frame that's right here.
Yeah.
So it goes about to right here. So 1, 2 out.
2 out on either side. Yeah.
2 on either side. So, but there's not up here. That's the back of the cab, and then we'll figure the rear
So
end out.
what I found out is if you go inside and look between the seats and the floorboard, there's space between the back of the seats and the bottom of the floor.
Yes.
That space should translate into a tunnel around this. So we should be able to put this head.
That's when we drop it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Recessing.
Okay, I see.
So
what you're
this
saying.
this head should be down here,
That
and
low.
this will be down further underneath the seats.
So-
I want to hear this thing run. Especially with a gigantic turbo on that. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
No, he's the man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That thing's a monster.
Only if it shoots flames, I'm sending it back. Let's pop the fuel tank out. And,
Yeah.
And then we'll measure where this is going to sit, because that's going to tell us a lot what we need to know.
Yeah.
Because I know we were thinking 488, but depending on how far that pumpkin sticks out,
so
we might have a
that's the
problem.
other problem is like space between the snub shaft, the pinion in the front of the axle and the motor. And if your pinion on 8/8, they're really tall. So, or should I say long? If it comes out like that to this, your drive shaft's teeny.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking 2 CV joints. I mean, it's not even that much of a shaft.
It's going to be a 6-inch shaft,
Yeah,
probably.
so
Yeah,
it's too short. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to go with a smaller diff just for a smaller pinion angle or pinion depth.
Is the S10 smaller? Maybe it's an S10?
Yeah, I mean, I think S10 was a 10 bolt,
Yeah.
10 bolt, something like that.
Around there.
It's been a while since I played with the S10s.
Okay. All right, let's pop out that fuel tank.
Yay! Yeah. It doesn't want to come out.
It's coming out. There you go.
Here you go, Chad. Next.
So we want to cut the floor out in between the rails. So why don't we pinch? Go and pinch up here too. There you go. That should be it. All right, you want to lower it now? That beautiful, beautiful bed.
Hi.
Big hole.
What a hole.
There it is. All right, you want to do the 2x4 method and drop it in, see where it sits?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what it looks like. Get a rough estimate of.
These frame rails right here are saving our asses for sure.
Yes, they are.
Thank you, Volkswagen.
Yeah, thankfully it's not a
I mean, you didn't
full unibody.
You didn't do anything else right, but that's good.
And then put that strap over here, and then we'll do one over that way, so we can pitch the engine and all that stuff.
What's funny about this is, how many weeks ago, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was like, my Rivian's gone. I'm gonna buy a nice little adorable pickup truck that gets great gas mileage and is reliable, and you could fix it for cheap. And
Nice try, Rich.
Now look what's happening right now. This wasn't part of the equation here.
Nice try, Rich.
I did my best.
It's all right. Hey, Chad, thanks for the raise. Yeah, that front end's gonna go way up. It's about 3.5, 4 inches down too low.
I'm not allowed on camera.
This thing's gonna sound evil. Holy shit, I know it. All right, moment of truth. Rear end's coming out. I guess we gotta commit now, huh, Joey?
Yeah, I think we need to.
It's gonna happen.
Oh boy.
There she is. A lot of room for activities, as they say. Oh, where are the shocks to be pulled out?
There.
Yeah, there we go. Can you do one?
Yeah.
Look at this. Look how good the shocks were on this thing. Well maintained. Nice.
Strong and chest. Alright, should be good.
Oh, yeah. Coming down.
Come on down. A little more.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Your side, you see a little adjustment. Yeah, there you go.
Has room to slide.
Gotcha.
Where are we going with it? Towards.
Well, if you look, that's the center line. We need to come more forward.
Yep. There-ish?
And then we need to
Towards
go
me.
towards you.
Okay. I gotta go this way.
Yeah. It's not bad, man. Once this thing, so actually let's wait a minute. That motor has to come down a lot more then, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, what's the pinion angle right now? Yeah, it's pretty right.
Dude, that estimate. look how
Gotta go like right there. Oh boy.
so that's nice and straight, but that
Comes down just a touch.
yeah.
It's literally sitting on the axle.
So yeah. That has to come down quite a bit, brother.
You know what's crazy?
What?
We can be complete degenerates right now. Put the old U-joints back, U-bolts back on,
Mm-hmm.
and just bolt it right in.
I know. Oh, absolutely.
It's
Why?
gonna go right back
Yeah,
on.
they could, yeah. I don't. Shoot.
Like this never happened.
I could be a degenerate.
I like it.
Well, even the shock. How bad are the shock mounts, though? We could have a sway bar.
They're the same.
Are they
They're
really?
in the same direction.
But the BW didn't have a sway bar, did it?
No.
Hey, now we have a sway bar. Yay. Yeah, that's Joey. I don't know how to solve that problem.
Dude, the motor's got to go down like
2 feet?
yeah, something like that.
Now that the new rear end is in, I have to get rid of the old rear end. And this is what the old rear end looks like right here.
Oh, Rich, you're so strong.
This is pretty much just an old piece of metal. And believe it or not, someone actually online reached out, said they wanted this. How should I send it, you think?
I don't know. What do you think?
ShipStation.
ShipStation?
Just through ShipStation. Using ShipStation, it's the fastest and easiest and most affordable way to manage and ship your orders. In just a few clicks, you're managing orders like a professional, printing out discounted shipping labels, and getting your products out fast. ShipStation works with all of the major carriers, including USPS, FedEx, UPS, and even international. You can compare and choose the best shipping solution every time. They even offer big discounts on shipping costs, and you can access the same postage and discounts that are usually reserved for large Fortune 500 companies like Tesla would be if they were recognized with the S&P. And right now, my peeps can try ShipStation for free for 60 days when you use offer code RichRebuilds for selling whatever it is that you're trying to sell. Use it now or after you watch this entire episode. Make ship happen. And thank you, ShipStation, for sponsoring this episode. All right, now before we drop this bad boy in fully, I'm going to tell you some modifications that we made to the engine first. Number one, first and foremost, I want to thank Mike and Megan for getting this out to us so quickly. They did a great job with that. It's a really awesome engine, and I'm going to go over the specs in a second. One thing we had to do, we actually had to flip the manifold so the turbo is upward. If you compare to the last video when we got it in, this turbo was actually facing down here. It was clocked downward because the manifold was facing down to make it a little bit more compact to fit in a bike. Now we had to do it upwards because we wouldn't be able to fit the turbo in here if it was facing down still. The turbo would be almost underneath the truck, and we didn't want that. So if anyone was wondering, this is a Generation 1 Hayabusa engine. It's 1300 cc, and some of the upgrades that Mike did to it were 10-to-1 CP pistons. There's a high volume pump gear in there, high pressure relief valves, heavy duty valve springs. Mike braced and balanced the connecting rods. There's an MPS multi-stage lockup clutch, a 50mm turbocharger, a custom air to water plenum that Mike made right over here. Blow-off valve, there's a 10-pound spring. This will make about 450 to 500 horsepower or so. With injectors and curler rods, it'll make 650 plus horsepower. As it sits right now, this one will make a reliable 400 horsepower, which I think is all we need at this point. But that's just some quick specs on it. What we're gonna do now, we're actually gonna lower this into the vehicle now that the turbo is facing the right way. We're gonna try to figure out the angles and various geometries of having the sprocket right over here connect to the rear end. So we're gonna figure that out for you guys. One thing about this motor and transmission combination is that the transmission is still stock. And one of the recommendations that Mike made to us was to get the transmission gears undercut. Unfortunately, we don't have the bandwidth or time to send it out right now for that to get done. If we remove that, all the angles that we need to start fabricating the rear subframe would be all out of whack. So we need the transmission in place to do a lot of those things. So potentially that could be something we send out later. But as of right now, though, there can't be any super aggressive hard launches with the stock transmission. It'll hold the power no problem, but I think the initial drivetrain shock once you get on it for the first time could be a problem. But I don't think that should be that big of an issue. I think we're still gonna have relatively skinny wheels and tires on this thing. They should be able to break free very easily. So that's one of the things we have to look out for. But we also have another solution to that in place coming up very soon as to how not to have too much shock on this motor and transmission combination. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, here comes the fun part for the Volkswagen Wabbit. I love this vanity plate. What do you guys think about that? I want to get into the problems with this build. If you look at this model very carefully, you'll see that it's slightly skewed towards the driver's side. And the reason for that is when it's in a motorcycle, it doesn't really matter. It's mounted differently in a motorcycle, but from a car perspective, it has to mount this way because the dead center of the output shaft of the transmission lines up exactly where that rear axle is. So it has to sit a little bit towards the side. Because remember, in the bike, this is completely turned. So the problem we're running into already, which we kind of discussed before, are these shaft angles. If you look at this has to line up right here with that. And that's not even close. That's at least a couple feet off. Even if I were to lower the vehicle, I'm gonna lower it right now. There you go. It's getting slightly better, but it's not exactly where it needs to be yet. So what we want to do for this as a proposed solution, we want to actually flip this axle. Instead of having the leaf springs on top, we want to have the leaf springs below. That's going to give us about probably another 3 or 4 inches. This will get 3 or 4 inches closer to that shaft, the output shaft on the transmission. It's not really a shaft, more of a sprocket. Remember, in the motorcycle, it's actually facing this way. This is exactly how you sit on a motorcycle, and the chain goes back here towards the wheels. The orientation is very different for an actual automobile. So we want to flip the axles to get that slightly closer. That turbo placement isn't ideal, but that's what we have to work with. Remember, we have to flip the turbocharger upwards so it would clear the leaf spring in the rear. That's the first problem, the shaft angle. Number 2, let's see, shifting gears. How the heck do you shift gears in this thing? We're starting to think of different solutions for that, but we're pretty sure since the linkages aren't very far, it's not a very long run, we could be able to run lines from inside the cabin to here, or we could run an electronic shifter as well, where all you have to do is you need a clutch pedal to get going, and then you could actually push 2 buttons to shift up and down. But those solutions are $1,500 to $1,700, which is kind of astronomical at this point. Number 3, traction. Traction is going to be a major issue in this because this is going to have very skinny rear wheels, and it's just going to be rear wheel drive with not really a whole heck of a lot of weight over the rear axles. We have a solution-ish for that. If you look very carefully, we actually removed the front motor because it's very big, heavy. It's a massive 1.6 liter inefficient diesel, hence the stack blowing smoke everywhere. Turbo's probably bad at this point. We have a solution for that I'm not going to get into just yet, but I think you already know where this is going. So more than likely, this will be a 4-wheel drive truck. The next issue we're having here, probably the final one, is the coupling. How do you connect this sprocket to the rear axle itself? Again, this isn't the first time this has been done, but we need to get some kind of shaft adapter. I don't really know where to get one. This is my first time doing this, so if you guys want to offer up any assistance whatsoever, I am all for it. But we want to take the sprocket from the Hayabusa and adapt it to the rear axle of the Ford 88. I know there's some adapters in place, but I don't really know where to get them or how to source those just yet, but that's going to be a problem we're going to run into very soon for that. So we need a not very standard output shaft on this that goes to the rear axle of the Ford 88. But that's pretty much it for now. Those are the issues, seemingly minor, that we're running into for now. I'm going to talk to you guys more on the next episode about what we're doing up front here. But this thing weighs almost nothing at this point. It's completely gutted, completely stripped. It weighs almost nothing at this point. So what we want to do now is keep this thing rocking, and we'll see you guys next week.